Hi, welcome to howcookingworks.com. Today we're going to cook curry san, which translates to Vietnamese yellow curry. It's similar to the red and green curries of the Thai cuisine in the sense that it shares the base of coconut milk, but the foundation taste component is curry powder, which is based off turmeric. This is pretty easy to prep, but there's a lot of ingredients, so let's go over them. First, we have some garlic. For the garlic today, we're going to be mincing it and we're going to be crushing it. Next, some lemongrass. This is a fresh lemongrass stalk that you can get at your Vietnamese market. We're going to be mincing some of it and then we're going to be bruising some of it. We have about 1-inch knob of ginger we're going to be grating. Wind chili that we're going to be slicing, and we're going to keep the seeds. For the sweet component, we're going to need some sugar. Now for the core component of this is the curry powder. I like the brand Madras curry powder. Now to bring up the salt of the dish, we're going to have some fish sauce and some kosher salt. We're going to hit it with 2 salts today. Next, we're going to have some pepper. Then as a base for it, we're going to use coconut milk. When you see thin or thick, you can just buy the regular one, and what we're going to do is we're going to dilute it with water. Next, we're going to have an onion. We're going to cut this into wedges. Now, the thing about this dish is the name of the dish is ga, which means chicken. You don't have to use chicken, but if you do, what you want is to use chicken thigh. So what we have here is 1 pound of chicken thighs. So in chicken thigh versus chicken breast, as you know, chicken breast cooks a lot faster and can dry out a lot more easier than chicken thigh. So for this dish, if you use chicken, you should use chicken thigh because it can withstand the heat a lot better. Now for some of the vegetables, I like using white potatoes. Depending on how you like your curry, you can peel potatoes or not. Next, we have 3 carrots. Again, however many vegetables you want in your curry, you can have more or less potatoes or carrots. Now, for this recipe, it's pretty simple. Now for the preparation, it's a 3-step process. First, we're going to make a marinade. For this marinade, we're going to marinate the chicken for about an hour to give it its flavor. Secondly, we're going to prep a lot of the vegetables, and the potatoes, carrots, and onion. And then lastly, what we're going to do is we're going to stir fry this on the wok. And then we're going to add the rest of the ingredients of the coconut milk and the water, and then bring it to a boil and drop it to a simmer. So the important thing here is to understand the flavor composition of this dish. Curries are always a little hard to get because it's more of an art form rather than a science. So the foundational base of this is coconut milk and curry powder. So that's what it's going to taste like. If you put coconut milk and curry powder by itself, it's going to taste a little bit bland, has a taste of turmeric, sort of warm, earthy, slightly pungent. But what we're going to do is what happens is we're going to add the fish sauce and salt, which brings up the salty level of the dish. Now to hit it with another taste, we're going to add some sugar. And then the other flavors are ginger, lemongrass, and garlic. So lemongrass is really important in this dish because it adds a citrus mouthfeel to it. So with that said, it's easier to understand this dish if we just start doing the preparation. So we're going to get started. So what we have here is 1 pound of chicken thighs. So the first thing we want to do is we want to cut it into bite-sized pieces. Okay, now that we've chopped all the chicken, what we want to do is, first thing is we want to add some garlic. So here, in this mortar, we have 2 cloves of garlic. What we're going to do is with the pestle, we're going to mash and crush the garlic. So what this is doing is this is really releasing the garlic flavors and the oils and juices of it. So you can see here, that's what we have. If you don't have mortar and pestle, you can probably skip this step and just add some minced garlic, but this adds a better flavor to it. So with that, what we're going to do is we're going to add this to our chicken. Next step, after we added the garlic, what we want to do is we're going to add some curry powder. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of curry powder. Next, we're going to add some lemongrass. What I already have here is I already have some minced lemongrass. So this is about 1 tablespoon. The only thing to be careful about is when you mince this lemongrass, mince it as fine as possible because if you don't, you're going to taste that sort of You're actually going to taste the lemongrass itself as you eat it. It may be a little rough on the palate. Next, we already grated 1 tablespoon of ginger. We have here is 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. 1 tablespoon of sugar. Oh, that didn't come out. And lastly, 1 tablespoon of fish sauce. So the thing here is, if it's not salty enough, then you can add more later. We don't want to over salt this too much. That wouldn't be a good thing. Okay, now that's incorporated, what we're going to do is let it marinate for an hour. And then we're going to come back and we're going to go to a wok. Now, to start off the curry, what we're going to do is we have 1 medium onion, which is cut into wedges. And we're going to put this in. What we want to do is we want to saute this for a little bit. The next thing you want to do, you want to add the garlic. Remember, you want to add the onion first, then the garlic, because if you add the garlic first, that will burn. Then next off, 1 tablespoon of curry powder. So as you see, we use curry powder in 2 places today. One's for the marinade, and one is for the onions. What we're doing here is, when we apply heat to the curry powder, it's going to intensify the flavor of it. Okay, now we're going to add the chicken. So if you remember the other Vietnamese recipe tip about called, what we want to do is we want to get the biggest sear on that beef as possible. But for this dish, we don't really need a big sear on the chicken. What we want to do is we want to apply heat to the marinade. So for the ginger, the fish sauce, the sugar, as we apply heat to it, it's going to intensify the flavor. We don't really care about fully cooking the chicken at this point, because when we simmer this with the broth, it's going to cook anyway. Okay, now what you want to get is 1 cup of coconut milk and 2 cups of water. This is the mixture I have here. We're going to pour it in. The last thing to do is we're going to chop up the potatoes and carrots. So we're just going to add this straight in. Now what we want to do before letting it cook, add some pepper, and we're going to add a bruised lemongrass. What we have here is we have the bottom of the lemongrass stalk with the pestle, and we really bruised it. If you notice here, you see it's sort of flat. So we're going to just add this in here. I'm going to let this cook for about 15 minutes. Now it's been about 15 minutes, and what you want to do is you want to taste the curry. Well, as you see here, it's a little more watery, but the general rule is if you want it more creamy, add more coconut milk. If it's too creamy, add milk. If it's not salty enough, add some fish salt. If it's not sweet enough, add some sugar. So everyone likes the curry sort of differently, so you want to sort of adjust it to your liking. What we have here is a curry ga, which is a curry chicken. You can serve it with rice or bread. If the curry is a little salty, it's actually okay because you're going to eat it with something sort of bland, rice or bread. So you don't want it to have it too mellow, but you know, you can season it to your taste. What you also can do is you can also serve it with some salt, lime, and pepper. But that's about it. This is just a traditional Vietnamese dish. And I encourage you, if you see it in a Vietnamese restaurant, try it out. So bon appetit. See you next video.